Hello, everyone. I am Derek Johnson. I'm the Executive Nutrition Director here at the Biggest Loser Resorts, and happy to be here today. This year at Biggest Loser Resorts, like every year, I try and pick a theme. This year's theme is the power of plants. And when I say plants, I'm thinking of, things that come from the vegetable side and the fruit side. One of the areas that all of our guests that come to our resorts, and anyone even who I'm working with, whether it's at our resorts or outside, I could be talking to someone on an airplane. The number one thing I know everyone does not get enough of is fiber. And fiber is huge, and we get a lot of it in our plant-based foods, particularly vegetables. We get a lot of it in grains, we get a lot of it in beans, and these are all included, legumes, lentils, and we just tend not to eat enough of these foods. So let's talk a little bit about what they do besides give us fiber. How impactful that is for our digestive tract, including something called prebiotics and probiotics in there. And, how can we get more in a simple way, especially if we don't like it. And then we'll talk a little bit about some of the studies that are done, and believe it or not, some recent studies, even as soon as 2015, that were published, and typically studies aren't published on food because there's not any money to be made on food, but published studies of foods that help drop things like blood pressure and simple things that you can do on a daily basis that can only help you. And I know of cases of people who have gotten off of blood pressure medication based on making dietary changes with increase in plants, and I'll tell you which types and give you an example. So the power of plants, which is our theme for 2017 at Biggest Loser Resorts, is one of my favorites, and there's just so many things that we can do to get them in. And we'll talk a lot about that. So to start, simple things if you're at the grocery store looking around, the brighter the vegetable or the fruit, typically the more antioxidants they have in it. Why are antioxidants important for your body, including your heart? Oxidation or oxidative stress is very simple. You take an apple, you cut it in half. If you don't put lemon juice or orange juice on, which is vitamin C, on the other half of the apple, it turns brown. That's a simple form of oxidation. Well, we don't want that happening inside the body, so we eat antioxidants to protect us. And that's just one simple example of what they do. So the brighter the color of the vegetable, the darker the green, the better. Iceberg lettuce, not a lot going on there. We all know it's all mostly water. Kale, extremely rough and dark, huge difference in what's in there. And if you don't like kale, there's a bunch of other ways of getting other things in, which we'll talk about. So just always think of color when you're thinking of a fruit and vegetable. The antioxidant in an apple, for instance, a red apple, is in the skin. It's red, not in the apple part of it, where a mango, super color, tons of antioxidants when you open that thing up, both in the skin and the flesh of the fruit. So it's kind of the easy tip for you to do. Find the ones you like and make sure we get enough things. It's very difficult for most people, including myself, because vegetables take time to cook and they're not easily, convenient, where eating some kind of a protein bar is. Actually, we're on that subject. When you're on the go, one area that has become very popular, they're called raw foods bars. And basically, if you look at the ingredient list and you read it, it says, pumpkin seeds, maybe some dried cranberries, and you just need to be careful of the amount of sugar in these bars. But these are a great way to get in nuts and seeds and plant-based foods when you're on the go, because unfortunately, carrying hummus and carrots, for an afternoon snack if you're on the go is not going to happen. But some of these good raw foods bars, which one day we'll have to do a talk on and go over some different examples, can be a good way to get them in, because I know it's very difficult. Let's talk a little bit about the science and the studies. So some tips for you to do. If you have blood pressure, even if you don't have a blood pressure issue, ground flax seeds are extremely powerful. But there's a published study of taking 2 tablespoons of ground flax every day. You can put that in oatmeal, you can put it in smoothies. Some people I know just drink it and put it in water, or you can put it in a salad. It's very easy to get in. Just make sure you're getting 2 a day, but will help drop blood pressure. And they've even done this against even medication. So it's very good to do. If you do notice your blood pressure and those things are dropping, always work with your physician, and if you are on medications, to have adjustments made. But it's a very powerful, simple tool, and flaxseed absorbs the flavor and doesn't taste like much. You may be asking me, Derek, why ground? Well, unless you're going to chew the flaxseed and chew it really deep and break that seed up, it's hard to digest. So just make sure you keep the ground flax in the fridge, 2 tablespoons a day. and you'll really enjoy that. One of my favorite vegetables, salad-wise, which people tend to either really like or really dislike, is arugula. Arugula is the highest containing in something called nitric oxide. All these crazy names. All you need to know is it helps with blood pressure. So if you got a blood pressure problem, you happen to like arugula, even a few servings a week, and you can do flaxseed almost every day, you're going to have an impact on your heart, you're going to have an impact on your blood pressure, not to mention there are so many other benefits that you're getting to, within these foods themselves, including some of the omegas that you're going to get in the flaxseed. So just an easy tip of something you can do. The last thing I'd like to discuss is, I hear all the time, Derek, I hate vegetables. Whether it was a bad childhood experience, you just don't like the taste of them, I've got good news. I've never seen someone, because it's impossible, not be able to change their taste buds. Your taste buds change. I've always said the best thing about the human body is it adapts to any environment. The worst thing about the human body is it adapts to any environment. Eat sugar every day. Want sugar every day, right? Some of you probably saw Super Size Me, and you got a vegetarian who wakes up shaking, craving McDonald's. So it's important to know that you can change. Just like we tell our kids today, or you tell your kids at some point, your body will change, your taste buds will change. So with that being said, what's an easy thing to do? I love smoothies. Why? You can put protein, healthy fats like almonds and chia seeds and flax seeds and fruit, with a good base of something low in sugar like an unsweetened almond milk, coconut milk, hemp milk, something like that. And if you get a good blender like a Vitamix or something a little bit on the, a little less expensive like a Ninja, you can put a handful of spinach right in there, and I promise you won't even taste it. So I trick my kids, and my son, Mike, he's 4. He's never eating a vegetable. I mean, even if I bought him every Transformer on the planet, it's not happening. But I have a shake I call the Hulk. He happens to love the Hulk. And it's just a peanut butter banana shake that's got a little spinach or kale in it, turns it green. He thinks it's going to give him muscles, and the kid gets kale or spinach every day and has no idea. So unfortunately, you'll know the trick because you're making the smoothie, but I can promise you there's a ton of stuff online and a lot of recipes, but if you have a good enough blender, you can mask the taste of vegetables and get them in every day. But I will say, don't try arugula. It's too powerful, and it will ruin your smoothie.